What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today I want to talk about my plans for Path of Exile Crucible. So obviously it's a new league, there's going to be some new things to kind of mess around with, and we don't know the full details. So like with any new league, I want to go ahead and actually build around something new. So the two newer things is there's going to be some new bow ability where it activates based off of some sort of like mana that you spend. There's also going to be two Vol skills that we're going to be incorporating in our build, which are going to be Vol Ice Shot as well as Vol Lightning Arrow. So pretty much the newer things on the tree that I want to prioritize getting are going to be multi-shot as well as the new attack mastery, granting ourselves adrenaline, which is insane when we change stances. Now, there's another node that we can get that's actually going to be a little bit more interesting. At the end of the day, though, really quick to answer the question, I will be playing a bow for the most part. Whether I want to do a Berserker or a Deadeye, not really sure on that yet. I'm going to kind of wait and see perhaps what else comes out, because certain things may, yield better results. But in addition to getting this adrenaline over here, this is like one of the newer things here for this attack mastery, and there's actually two additional arrows you can get. One, it's attacks fire additional projectiles. The other one, just bow attacks fire additional arrow. So we're getting essentially two additional arrows on top of the two other additional projectiles. And on top of that, we can run Dying Sun, so we can go Tornado Shot and do a massive amount of damage. But what I really want to try to do is utilize the new Vol skill. So basically, the Lightning Arrow is just going to shoot out a bunch more arrows, and basically, these can hit multiple times. We're talking like 20 more arrows. I'm not really sure how it's going to work. I don't know if these are going to be chained. There's a lot of stuff that we can't really factor in, and with the Ice Shot, apparently just hits a target like once really, really hard. So we will be using two of those, and I'll kind of explain what I want to do. It's actually very similar to what we did in Sanctum League. However, there's a few newer things to mess around with. So, starting right off, it's going to be a hybrid. It could be Trinity. It could be mainly ice and lightning damage, but at the end of the day, we're scaling elemental damage. But in addition to this node over here with this mastery, attack mastery, being able to grant ourselves extra adrenaline for 1 second when we change stance. So we're going to be running Blood and Sand and just swapping stance. Just going to keybind it to the left click or somehow just activate it every second. It's going to be kind of annoying. If there's some other way to like increase the duration of this would be awesome. But nonetheless, that's the main thing that I want to focus in on, because Adrenaline grants 100% increased damage and increased attack, cast, and movement speed, since Onslaught kind of got changed. There's no Onslaught gem anymore. But this is going to be great for earlier on. We'll basically rush this. This is not necessarily going to be like my final tree, although I'll include the PoE planner. It's just that as right now, the PoB doesn't have all the brand new updates without going to developer mode, and I don't want to have to show people how to do that, because it's much easier just to do this. So there's also another node over here where you gain Onslaught if you change stance. Recently, I was thinking about anointing this, but then there's also the extra cooldown recovery rate for stance skills that you'd be missing out on. What am I going to do with this? I was also thinking about just getting flat cooldown. I want to try to upkeep Adrenaline. Somehow, I will try to figure this out. I was checking out trade. There's actually cooldown recovery rate over here on belts, but for the most part, I'm going to try to 100% uptime Adrenaline. I mean, it's literally 100% increased damage, and on top of that, you get 25% increased attack, cast, and movement speed, and you're in another 10% additional physical damage reduction, so that's really good. And if we can keep that up 100% of the time, I think that'll be great for the build. In addition to that, there are some other masteries that I have my eye on right now. One of them that's going to be relatively easy to get free advantage off of if it works the way I think it works. So in Path of Exile, you can actually freeze a boss without it actually being frozen and not being moved. It calculates the game, I guess, in a state where the boss is frozen, although you can't really freeze a boss for that long, especially any of the pinnacle bosses, but it counts as them being frozen. So as far as I'm aware of, I'll just do some more testing on this. If this works the way I think it works, as long as we get our effectiveness up for freeze, it will still freeze the boss in the wording, but it won't actually freeze them in terms of the boss cannot move, if that makes any sense. There's a new mastery on Coal where it makes it so enemies permanently take 5% increased damage for each second they have ever been frozen by you, up to a maximum of 50. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to be calculating it as in a duration. If there's, let's say they freeze for like half a second, does that actually take into consideration half a second, or does it round up? I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that's that's brand new that is going to require maybe just actually raw testing. So if anyone knows about any of the stuff I'm going to be talking about, because this is my whole idea, is kind of like my theory crafting here for the league. So this is what I want to try to do. If it doesn't work, it's not really that big of a deal. I mean, I'm still getting 10% and then another 4% of physical is extra cold, and converting it can also be another option. So we have basically 100% elemental conversion, as we're going to be using lightning arrow and ice shot. So as long as we can convert 100% of it to whatever element, it doesn't really matter. And then we'll have some chance to ignite, freeze, and shock. So what I actually wanted to get also that was new, this is another newer thing over here. So we have to get some sort of fire mastery. Unfortunately, the lightning mastery that used to be like around here on the tree got moved way up. So I don't know if I'm going to grab it, although Ghost Dance is not that bad. What I actually plan to do is get this other newer mastery here. It's called Fire Mastery. So it says crit strikes do not inherently ignite, but you get 100% increased damage with hits against ignited enemies. So I'm not sure if this is just going to be just off of the fire damage. It just says hits. So my guess is as long as I ignite the enemy, and ignite is a 4-second duration, and if I'm attacking fast enough, and if I have about 50-60-ish% crit by the time my character's like 90, that'll be good enough to have some non-crits actually apply the ignite. We have about 55% chance just to ignite without any other modifiers, just flat off of the tree, because you get like 20% here, and then we get another, 20, and then 50, so we get another 35, so it's 55 just on the tree over here, and we're just going to apply the ignite. We get more fire damage over time. It doesn't really matter. We get some attack speed here, but I'm really here for that 100% increased damage. So that's another newer node. There's a few other newer, smaller nodes that I'm not really going to mention. The ones that do matter are like Master Fletcher over here. Again, another arrow here and another arrow over here with the attack mastery. So that's my plans initially in terms of what we want to do. So we're going to be doing massive amounts of extra damage compared to basically lastly we have 100% increased damage here, and then a 50% increased damage via the cold, and we're still getting some extra damage here as not too bad. I'm going to basically go Trinity in terms of like my plans. And then on top of that, I was thinking about like what other new uniques do I want to incorporate in the build, because I always like to incorporate newer uniques. Obviously, we can't, guarantee that we're going to be having easy access to these because we don't know the rarity of some of these items. But I had my eye on Widow Hail, which makes it so we have 225% increased bonuses from equipped quiver. So right off the bat, the Poised Prism, this is like a 1 chaos unique, and if you can max it out, and I'm not sure what this max number is. This could be a low roll, this could be a high roll, it could be a mid roll, I don't know. If it goes up to 300%, this could be insane, as literally, even just with its stats over here, let's just take 200% for an example, right? If we are basically tripling the stats because we're getting 200% more on it, I'm not sure if this is the way it maths out, but if this is the way it does math out and it literally like triples the stats right here, I mean, that's 75 to Fire Cold Lightning. That's pretty good, right? In terms of like what it does. That'd be amazing. And on top of that, we get the added flat damage per stat. And then I'm like, okay, well, if I go throw an Astromentes and then just become a stacker in terms of a stats, attribute stacker, that could be another way where we can get massive amounts of extra damage as well. I was also thinking about Hero's Demise, although we'd have to be playing a standard for this because I don't believe this item drops anymore. But if this does work, and I just roll off the implicit, because this should, in theory, work with the implicits as well. I mean, look at this. This is 90% increased elemental damage just with this alone getting triple statted. And again, we're just using 200 as the number to get like triple the stats, but it could go even higher because we don't know the highest roll. On top of that, I was actually looking at my inventory. I was actually thinking about, well, I could throw in Storm Rider boots. These are boots that grant us extra flat lightning damage per accuracy rating if I'm doing a dex stacking build. I could consider this as well. And then on top of that, I was thinking about Fractal Thoughts. This is a fantastic helm if you're going to become a stacker, especially in the deck stacking department. We get the ability to grant ourselves elemental damage per dexterity. I was checking out over on the PoE Ninja to kind of see what is like, what people are going for in terms of like a stacker, like in terms of like numerical values. What are people getting? I was also just double checking on the price of the Poised Prism. Yeah, it's still like 1C, very, very cheap. I was here's a PoE Ninja I was looking at, and even if we just get like half the stats, right? Even like 1300 dex, Fractal Thoughts, Poised Prism, this is the kind of stuff I was looking at. Wasn't really considering Iron Commander as I want to use the new unique, okay? That's the whole point of a new league, is to test out the new stuff, right? Obviously, this is going to be a very expensive build. You can actually get lots of percent accuracy via just getting more dexterity giving you more accuracy. So we're considering that route as well. We're also looking at other items that can give you cooldown recovery rate. Let me know if there are any other cooldown recovery rates other than like belts. I'm sure there's probably some uniques that allow some things to go on with that. But I was also thinking about like how I'm going to actually do multi-damage here, because I want to do mainly lightning and cold. So I'm going to do what I did last league. This is towards the end of Sanctum. This is what I decided to go for. I ran some Thunder Fist because I need some flat, massive amount of damage for all of the scaling. So if, for whatever reason, let's say that we don't opt to go for the quiver, the poised prism, let's say like for whatever reason this becomes super rare, we just don't opt to go for it, because I definitely want to try out that new bow. Again, kind of depends on how expensive that is going to be. But looking at my current quiver, I was just like thinking about like, dude, if I got this like for triple the stats on it, like, I mean, that's so much resistance over there. And then on top of that, we have 60 increased elemental damage with attack skills. Multiplying that times 3 is just astronomically high. And then to start scaling them out of flat numbers here, we'd have to have, of course, like if I have an insane amount of increased elemental damage, I'd on top of that would want to have the flat damage be high enough, because the bow basically does 0 damage. I mean, look at it. It's 5 to 13. But the unique ability is what makes it so powerful, right? So going back over here, yeah, getting Thunder Fist would be excellent. We could just get this for the added level 30 lightning damage. It's insane. So I think what we're running Lightning Arrow and Mirage Archer in once. So this is a pseudo 5 link because we have the level 30, but a level 30 is basically more than a 6 link of like added lightning and like lightning pen in terms of like numerical values. So yeah, we want to try to do this, and on top of that, to apply the newer changes here, because remember, we're going to want to do all damage. So in terms of our damage, we're going to get, we just need like 1 fire damage just somewhere, just so it activates Ignite Chance, so it's taking fire damage over the course of the 4 seconds. The amount of numbers doesn't matter, but we just need that extra bonus because the ignited enemies take a 100% increased damage with hits. So we just need to apply some sort of damage somewhere with fire. Whether I decide to go for like a triple statted bow with triple LE and then like crit strike multi, that could be an option as well. Ideally with some like Ignite Chance wouldn't be bad, somewhere on there. But looking at this in terms of the numbers, we could maybe get more value by just getting some sort of bow for like 1 or 2 divines that has like just good elemental damage, because these always go for super cheap, especially earlier on in the league. I'm not sure if I'm going to run Cosprees. We'll see if there's any other new uniques, but I generally like Cosprey because it's relatively cheap and it is very, very good. And I think, oh, is this, yeah, okay, so I was running 2 6, well, this is a pseudo 5 link, but it's more than a 6 link in terms of like what we're trying to do with it, because this will apply the shock value, giving us that increased damage from the shock. Then we have the increased fire damage, the increased cold damage from the new cold mastery, which enemies will permanently take that bonus damage. And since it's permanent, I mean, this could be so amazing for bosses, especially with the new Vault Eye Shot and the new Lightning Arrow, which is my whole plan. And I'm also going to be running Ice Shot. So Hypothermia, we're running, of course, this is going to be Vault Ice Shot, and then we'll do like Inspiration, maybe some crit strike chance damage, and then elemental damage with attacks. Probably something along the lines of that. Or maybe we could run Trinity. Doesn't really matter too much at the end of the day because they're relatively the same in terms of like numerical value, in terms of like the playstyle. But yeah, I'll link this down below in case anyone wants to check it out. I'm still probably going to run the Endless Munitions because, yeah, being able to chain off of walls is going to be amazing. And especially with the new Lightning. Did they show off the new skills? I think, okay, so these are the new Vol skills. Let me go and play them for you guys real quick, just so you guys can see kind of an example of what they do. So there is there's Lightning Arrow, there's Ice Shot. I'm going to fast forward to the right one over here. What is this one? It looks like that's just sort of cold dot build. Did they show it? I know they show off. Okay, so this is the one that I'm most excited about. This is Vol Lightning Arrow. So how it works is it has these arrows come out, and apparently the target can get hit by multiple of those. And I think this is the ice one over here, where it makes clones. So this looks like it's the lightning one. Now, if these can ricochet and chain off of, I should just say chain. If these can chain off of terrain, this could be just crazy levels of godly, because what I plan to do is I always get this node where it's like knockbacks enemies if you get a critical strike. And what you can basically do is throw a boss in a corner and basically have all of them bounce off of the wall, and you're looking at like an insane multiplier. So yeah, that's my plans for PoE in terms of the Crucible League. Let me know what you plan to play. And like I said, I'm probably 99% sure I'm going to be going Deadeye, just because it's really easy and beginner friendly, and it moves very, very fast, and I hate slower characters. But yeah, I'll probably do a full guide if you guys wondering. I'm going to do like a full walkthrough, a guide, just like I do most leagues. Yeah, I plan to do this, and hopefully there'll be some sort of like, you know, newer boss for us to fight towards the very end. But anyways, that's gonna go wrap it up. Let me know your guys' thoughts on it. If there's any like other cool things that I didn't mention that would work well for Bo, as Bo is looking really good this league. I'm really excited because you literally get 2 arrows at the start, and this whole adrenaline thing is gonna be good, but my fingers are not gonna be liking it. I'll guarantee you that. I know that like PoE doesn't like macros, but I really so badly just want to have this automated somehow to just change stance, because it's just another button that we have to push every 1 second, which you can bind it to your left click if you want to, but you know, I also like to bind left click to steel skin. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. If you guys enjoyed it, drop a like on it. If you want to see, of course, more stuff in the future with this build, then we'll do some progressions with the build, and we'll do like a full build guide for sure. Anyways, subscribe if you guys want to see it, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Peace out, Exiles.